Hello, and let me welcome you to a quick overview of Bohemian Violin, our first ever virtual performer. We are incredibly excited to share this with you guys because it has been something we worked on for a year, and you have just heard me improv with no force keys, no CC, again, just me playing live on the keyboard, and you heard what it does. It's magical, it's simple, it's intuitive, it just does what it should. It's violin performer stuck into the keyboard. So what we're gonna have a look in this overview is, now this is the first time ever you see the settings page. The settings page remained hidden because we didn't want it to distract from the beauty of what the violin does by itself. But of course, some composers might want to force a certain behavior on, and that is what this page is all about. This is where you can change some or parts of the settings to your liking as you play live, or you can change the legato intervals volume or the amount of reverb. You can turn it on off, turn the legato on off. It's the standard stuff which you would expect in a modern library. So what we're going to have a look at first is how the violin behaves when I played live. Now, the violin was designed with the idea of, once you start playing a phrase, the bow is on. The bow is on the string, you're playing, and as you're overlapping, the bow remains on the string. Once you lift the bow, in other words, there is no further overlap, a new bow begins. Now, if the gap is short, it will continue bowing in the whole bowing up, down, up, down, up, down as it's programmed in there. If the gap is longer, it will start from the down bow and start rolling down like it was a whole new phrase. Now this is actually really good because it allows you to phrase the violin without even thinking about that. It's just another thing which occurs there in the background for you. So I'm just gonna play this little phrase and you can have a listen and watch what's actually happening there, and you will see that the mid-arc comes in when I've basically ever so slightly lifted the bow. There was no overlap for that, and that way I can easily decide when it's an arc, mid-arc or a sustain by simply overlapping or not overlapping, and it's just all really natural. So have a look, guys. So what we're going to have a look at now is how to show it in a non-melodic way. So it's gonna play an arc, first of all, then transfer into sustain, 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 because I do not lift the bow. And it goes into the sustains because the arc has matured just enough to transfer into there. And the sustains have never reached diminuendo point to allow another arc without lifting the bow. Okay, and now we're gonna watch it again, played live, utilizing the performer, and seeing how it all nicely comes together. And we're also gonna have, at the end, few fast runs. It's basically when you play at fast enough speed, it will employ the runs technology. So if the legato, the standard legato, is not fast enough or capable of handling that speed, the spiccato with intervals get engaged and handles it for you. But don't worry, if you end up in a long note at the end, it's not a problem. The system will again make sure that the long note sounds. Everything is incredibly intuitive, and it's basically the easiest instrument you'll ever play, probably. Now, of course, with this instrument, you can actually force a certain behavior onto the instrument. So if you wanted all the notes to be arcs, for example, all you would have to do is press the arcs force key and hold it for the part of the phrase you want. Now the virtual performer will continue bowing for you, so it remains sounding natural, but what will happen is that every next articulation will be arc. So the bow of arc will happen. It will not be a sustain or a mid-arc, it will be an arc because you're forcing that behavior into the system. So it stops thinking on the articulations for itself, but it keeps bowing for you. And of course, I've already mentioned that a bit earlier, there are some runs engines. What are runs engines? Runs engine basically gets employed at the point where you reach certain speed, which would not be managed by the normal legato, which is in there. And again, it's not something you have to think about, you just have to play, and it will work out basically whether it is a run or isn't a run. If it's a run, it will employ the spiccatos with legato intervals. If it isn't, it will employ standard sustains or mid-arcs or arcs, depending on where you are in the phrase. It's intelligent enough to do that. Now, of course, you can also force, again, a different behavior. So if in the fast runs you want rather sustains than the spiccatos, then just force the sustains on that passage. But that's done in, I don't know, half a minute flat after you finished editing your piece. So it's not really something you'll ever have to spend long doing. And that's ultimately what this instrument is all about. The idea was that you can sit down and play on the violin and just play. Play on the piano and it sounds like a violin. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to think, oh, I'm going to write CC1, CC11, CC18, CC24, and I'm going to have these 26 other faders running on a side. None of that. Now, coming to CCs, we did allow CC11 to remain there. So CC11 is still there for your control if you wish to use it. Okay. Now we've seen what's in the base 1. Now the reason why I call it base 1 is because this is the base library. We're launching this at a pre-order price and 149 euros retail price. What you get in that is not just the instrument itself, you're also getting an expansions coming in the 2016. We have a long list of expansions, extra bow type, bow styles, articulations, dynamics, positions, types of slurs, yes, on bow legato as well, portamenti, glissandi, and a lot of other stuff which is planned to be introduced into the virtual performer. We've already conceptualized it, so we know we can do that. It's just about capturing all the necessary data and processing it and adding it to the system. So what our aim is, very simply, is that by the end of 2016, whatever you throw at it, it will be able to play it perfectly. At the current stage, it can already do an incredible amount, and it's incredibly flexible and easy to use tool, but we don't want to stop there. This is not a library which just gets released and then gets some minor updates or a couple feature updates. This will get proper expansions, which at the end will probably see double size, if not more, than what it is now. That's the philosophy of the Soul Capture. It's a continuous project. So what you're getting in this price of the pre-order and the 149 euros, until the next expansion comes, those will be the prices. When the next expansion comes out, the price will go up of the base product, but all those who own it will get the expansion for free. The expansions will be quarterly. That's the aim, and we are aiming we're doing our best to make sure we hit that. We're already working on expansion 1 now. And you'll get all that for free. But then the expansion 2 comes out, again the base price will go up, but whoever owns base or expansion 1 package will get the expansion 2 and expansion 3 for free, and therefore onwards. Now we have the graphics now on the website explaining how it all works, but the idea is to reward the early adopters of the library and reward the support we receive So we can push this library forward into a continuous evolution until it can do what we're aiming to do, which is pretty much everything. Now to answer as well, before we end this overview, we have been asked if we will do cellos, violas and other instruments. Yes, the production on cello has already begun. It's expected to arrive Q1 2016. The viola is expected to arrive Q1, Q2 2016. And a second violin is expected to come as well to give you a full quartet, fully fledged quartet. And all those libraries will be continuously updated until we reach a point where the virtual performer can handle anything you throw at it with ease. We'll carry on working on it. The Soul Capture is the largest project we have ever undertaken. It has taken us a year to conceptualize, and it is truly unique in the scope, the idea, the size, and the ease of use. So we will continue working towards making this something which is just unmatched in the industry and something which sets new standards. Thank you very much, guys, and we're looking forward to all your feedbacks, reactions, and involvement. Thank you.